dived into their kayaks. To keep the water out, the cockpits were sealed with a neoprene spray cover. Then, Benoit led off. In the canyon, the Yokulsa ran deep. Now, boulders weren't the biggest worry. The main problem was stoppers. A stopper is a type of particularly dangerous turbulence. If a kayakist goes under in a stopper, he can be held down indefinitely. Here, Paul Vandermolen was lucky enough to get away with just a soaking. Up above, the microlights followed. They carried 2 spare kayaks. About halfway down, Paul Vandermolen was leading. He and Benoit Debout successfully negotiated a tricky section. They waited for Mick Coyne, part of their normal safety routine.
Suddenly, Mickey hit a stopper and disappeared. Finally reappeared, he was already half out of his boat. His spray deck had been ripped off, and the boat was filling up. Mickey was now fighting for his life, trying to catch his breath before being pulled down under the next wave. Time was running out. Mickey had been in the water a long time and was losing strength. But as long as we could see him, we had a chance of pulling him to safety. Suddenly, we lost sight of him again. A river descent was turning into a survival run. The raft too was filling with water. The crew, pretty well exhausted, bailed continuously. Mick appeared for a short moment, enough for Benoit to dart into the current to drag him to safety, just above the next boulder garden of rocks and rapids. The raft, now completely out of control, was being smashed against the sharp canyon walls. We took Mickey to the bank and set off to follow the runaway raft and retrieve Mickey's lost kayak. When we reached the others, the smashed raft had been washed up into an eddy, the first for over 10 miles.
Never have I seen anything. Well, I have seen it, but I've never been in it. Here comes Mick. It's another day at the beach.
Okay.
Yeah. Everybody but the boat.
How'd you break it anyway?
Ran into a wall, broke the oar I was using.
So when I came
broke
past
that
you, you
one.
were
Both
stuck
of them
against
just snapped. Gone. Then we hit the next wall and broke the tube. I could not pull over. No way. Not
No, I
possible.
didn't think you could.
Yeah, we can have a fire tonight.
Despite the organisation and planning, expeditions still require a great amount of luck. And today, we've been very lucky.
Before we go tonight, we've got to cover this up with more rocks. We've got to make a big pile of rocks. Can't leave a fire.
Roast sausage. Now when you get sick, you'll know why.
Do you want some meatballs in there?
We've got meatball, hot dogs.
Reflecting on the previous day's occurrences, I wondered what the remaining 8 miles of canyon would have to offer. The torn raft was serious, but could be repaired. The oars could be replaced, but the real disaster was the sad loss of our last can of beer.
It would take 2 days to repair the damaged raft. As the team explored their surroundings, it soon became obvious why the American astronauts had decided to train here before the first moon landing. Vegetation, and especially trees, are sparse. In fact, the camp was one of the few sheltered places downriver where small trees and bushes grow.
Oh. 8 o'clock, mate. It's hot water on there.
Mickey led the last rapid. In high spirits, we completed our canyon descent. And entered the calmer stretches of river that would lead us to the Arctic Ocean.
September 2nd, 1983, the team reached the sea. Yokultsa's defiance of exploration was over. Despite all the problems and their earlier disappointments, the team had achieved their main objective. Their unique way of descending the Yokultsa had worked. Their success suggests a new way of exploring the more inaccessible areas of our planet. For adventurers everywhere, it shows what human determination and ingenuity can achieve. The Iceland breakthrough had been made.
Paul van der Molen, the leader of the Iceland breakthrough expedition, died of leukemia 2 years after his team's victory. He was 28 years old. Iceland Breakthrough is his monument. Coming up in the second half of Explorer, take part in the annual Birdathon, a 24-hour marathon of bird watching. Then follow in the footsteps of pioneering mountaineers on the magnificent Matterhorn, and learn some of the secrets of a master of Zen archery. It's all ahead on Explorer, right after this.
It's a great big world out there, and there's one great way kids can get to see it. Every month with National Geographic World. It's a super magazine just for kids. It's filled with animals, nature, science, adventure, and fun. Plus contests, puzzles, super-sized pullouts, and stories about kids who've done something very special. You can't buy World at any store, but you can get it at home each month by sending a check for just $10.95 to National Geographic World, Department 7000, Washington, D.C., 20036. So come on, get on top of the world with National Geographic World.
Sure, the pride is back. Plymouth Sundance and Voyager are the proof.
The pride is back.
Sundance, the unbelievable American, under $7,600. The best value of any car in its class. Plymouth Voyager, front-wheel drive, car-like handling, and Plymouth's 550 protection plan. Backs them both.
The pride is back. Born in America again.
Most real estate agents sell houses the same way.
It's a lovely 2-story, 3-bedroom, full basement.
It's a lovely 2-story, 3-bedroom, full basement.
Lovely 2-story, 3-bedroom, full basement.
Except the one from ERA.
We also have the ERA Seller Security Plan that assures we'll sell it. The ERA Buyer Protection Plan to protect you and your buyer against major repairs. Help with financing through ERA Mortgage Services.
There really is a difference in real estate companies. The difference is called ERA.
Conservation and biotechnology offer new hope to millions of animals facing extinction. Magnificent animals like the cheetah on the Serengeti Plains, the Florida panther, the Bongo antelope. Can they be saved? You'll find out when Superstation WTBS presents the next World of Audubon special.
11:50 Eastern from a Superstation Thursday night.
I'm Loretta Swit, and I'm a friend of the world's wildlife. You can be too.
You're watching National Geographic Explorer on the Superstation.
Ow! Ooh. Hold it. Using that hard, waxy lip balm is sort of like rubbing a candle across chapped lips.
Ow! You're right.
Now try Creamy Blistic. Blistic goes on comfortably, glides over even the most severely chapped lips. There's nothing like Blistic. It's medicated. It helps heal dry, chapped lips fast.
Great. No hard, waxy feeling.
Creamy, comfortable to apply Blistic. Try it.
Why you bother me, boy? Are you crazy?
I'm a chicken hawk and you're a chicken. Are you coming quietly or do I have to muss you up?
You're going at it all wrong, son. You gotta go to Kentucky Fried Chicken if you want to catch America's favorite chicken. It's a great place to get a great meal. No one makes tender, juicy chicken like the Colonel. It's finger-licking good. Here, son, let me give you a lift.
We do chicken right.
What's the world-famous Metropolitan Life representative up to now, Charlie Brown?
He wants to make sure people know that Metropolitan offers auto insurance, homeowners insurance, health insurance, and retirement planning, as well as life insurance.
What's he got in mind?
Good grief!
Spectacular!
Get Met. It pays.
And now back to National Geographic Explorer and Tom Chapin.
They don't give a hoot what people think, as long as you don't call them bird watchers. The correct word is birders. Every year, hundreds of them spend a day and a night whooping it up in New Jersey on a 24-hour birdathon. This World Series of birding raises cash for worthy conservation causes, but the ultimate goal is a good time.
Do it, Wayne. Hit it. Wayne is doing the call of the screech owl, and it's a call that is very readily responded to. It's also a call that seems to upset other birds.
Terrific. Swamp sparrow. Terrific. You call an owl and get a swamp sparrow. Do a swamp sparrow, see if you get an owl right.
This is the Cape May Birding Hotline in northern New Jersey. Speed day -1. Just exercise simple courtesy to the bulk of human society, which habitually uses the hours of midnight to dawn to sleep. If a television camera person is blocking your path, please first ask them politely to move. If you're absolutely forced to cut a television cable, use a Swiss Army knife with a non-conducting plastic handle and watch out for sparks. It is permissible to check the book when you arrive at Brig. Just don't scribble in ghost birds for rival teams, okay? Good luck.
It's the day before the 1986 New Jersey Birdathon, a race against time and nature to identify by sight or sound the largest number of birds in a single 24-hour period. Birders from all over the country are preparing for the competition that will begin at midnight tonight for the third annual World Series of Birding. Despite its reputation for toxic waste and urban sprawl, New Jersey is a splendid place for birdwatching. The state is on the migration route for over 300 species of birds, a sort of airborne Jersey turnpike. Each spring, as the birds begin heading north, the Birdathon teams comb the state on undercover scouting missions. From the southern pine barrens to northern woodlands to coastal wetlands, they move, choosing their secret spots and devising intricate routes from one to the next. More than half the birds will be identified by sound alone. A good birder can recognize dozens of species by their calls, sometimes by a single note. At the end of their 24-hour quest, the teams will report to the Cape May finish line at the southern tip of the state. Dick Turner, an art historian and former college dean, likens birding to eating peanuts. Once you start, you can't stop.
I think there's something about a bird, it's freedom. You come out into the woods in the middle of spring, and here's this little guy, and he's been somewhere in South America, and he's on his way up to Canada, and you can intersect him and have a moment with him. There's a bit of the chase. There's a bit of collecting how many of these friends you can see in any given year, any given day. And I think there's a fascination of meeting the rare and meeting the unusual. Birdwatching, a pastime for weirdos. I mean, that's totally out, the little old ladies in tennis shoes and all that sort of thing. It's one of the fastest growing sports in America, and I think it combines being outdoors, good exercise, and something of the chase in an urban society and the aesthetics of seeing very beautiful things.
As midnight nears, the 25 teams gather at their individual starting points. The Manomet Swifts from Massachusetts anxiously await the opening moments of the big event.
We must be talking midnight by now. Oh, 3 minutes, 3 minutes.
3 minutes.
That's it. It's not tomorrow yet.
It's still today.
It's still today.
Dick Dick Turner's team, the Green Mountain Mubbas, tied for 16th last year. This year, they're out to win.
There's a lot of people. People can go over that way. Yeah, let's just be cool here for a minute.
At the stroke of 12, they're off. The mothers find, however, that the birds are less than cooperative.
Something else up on the left.
That's a splash.
There's a carp.
The area covered, the team moves off into the darkness. 3:57 a.m. Somewhere in northern New Jersey. The Manamus Swifts are working fast.
There's going to be a lot of teams that come here. Sure. And this is the time they're going to come. But at least, hopefully, we're on the way out. Oh, yeah. I mean that in the figurative sense. Chase down one bird. That took it 10 minutes here, 15 minutes here, and I'm sinking in quicksand. What's going on around here? Wake up, bird.
Now, we've been birding 4 hours or so, and all of that is obviously done on the basis of sound. The time of the greatest activity of birds is from the first light through sunup and a little after. That kind of identification is done almost entirely by call notes and by songs.
5:11 a.m. The mothers are worried. They're falling far short of their projected warbler identification, and the ruffed grouse still eludes them.
Very high, thin warbler up on the right.
That's the classic call.
Yeah, that is the... Right there? That's E-T-E-T, ending in a trill.
Yeah. Yeah.
5:50 a.m. The Swifts are hot on the trail of a chickadee in the central part of the state.
Hey, this screech owl's putting on a pretty good show.
It's 6:20, and at this point we have a Canada goose, wood duck, Virginia rail, red-winged blackbird. Red-winged blackbird, common grackle, scarlet tanager, cardinal, rose-breasted grosbeak, indigo bunting, towhee, swamp sparrow, song sparrow.
Look behind him. Look at this warbler coming in offshore.
Not every team has spent the night running all over the state. On the Jersey Shore, the Sandy Hook onlys take a different approach.
So we're going to try to see as many bird species as we can before 10 a.m. and then we're going to tuck in for a nap and wake up about 5 p.m., right?
Yeah.
Because we've been up since 3, which is 3 hours later than most teams probably, but we're tired.
We've seen about a half a dozen birds here that we haven't seen before on this count.
Like over high.
We have driven a total of about 2 miles, and we're relaxed. We're going to take a break and have probably a good semi-formal breakfast, I'd say. Here's the list we're going for, and we figure we have most of the first row already checked off. We trust we'll come in last again. We don't think of this as a contest to see how many birds you can spot and see how much money you can raise. We think of this more as a day outdoors, to commune with nature, to eat well, to relax.
Are you through with me?
Yes.
This is disgusting.
And
look at that.
We'll leave the serious counting and who's first and who's second to some of the other teams.
Looks like it might be a rough-winged swallow here. Just went around the corner. I think there's a rough-wing out here. Oh, right on my lens. You son of a gun. Something up.
John, back up here, quick.
Did you see it? I just saw it through the trees. I mean, I saw the bird, but I didn't see enough to know for sure if it was a bidder. In the fog.
Yep.
Oh, there it goes. Yep. That sounds like a bank swap.
They may be both here.
Usually banks, to my ear, always sound like bzz, 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 bzz. You know, it's a lot of run together. Bzz, bzz, bzz. These things tend to be more single or double notes, like brit, brit, brit.
What really goes on behind a competition like this that seems frivolous perhaps and not entirely sensible? What are the deeper streams that are at work here? Well, I think when you run out and try to see birds and you see many of one kind where there were few before, and more often, unfortunately, few where there were once many, you're doing a litmus test. It is the constant observation of the environment that tells us where we are in keeping an ecologically healthy world. And if we cannot preserve birds, presumably there will come a time when we can't preserve ourselves.
We see everything.
More gray blue behind us, too.
And agree on
Here
it.
you go, Carol. Would you like some coffee?
Oh, geez, thanks.
Here you go.
A little blue here.
Here, Frank, would you like some coffee? It doesn't have cream and sugar in it.
You see green all the time, right?
Yeah. Do you have a napkin?
Come on, get on the shore, bird.
Right out here, straight in front of us.
Well, I can't look at birds and hold my coffee.
100 yards out.
I think one good approach to birding is this approach. It's kind of down low and quietly.
That's a good approach.
Yeah.
I don't know what
That's generally a good one, yeah.
We're confident.
Yeah,
Now he's being
we won't
serious.
spend any money on gas.
But we should come in last. We want to come in last. We feel we're the driving force for all the rest of the teams. Anybody who we beat shouldn't be in it next year.
By mid-afternoon, the mothers have reached the fertile birding area of the Brigantine Marsh in southern New Jersey. They're feeling pretty cocky.
Are we going to win, Bruce?
Of course.
Of course we're going to win. There's no question about it.
We're not going to win if we stay around here.
That's right. So let's get out of here.
Birds have wings, they fly, you have to keep up with them.
The Cape May Death March.
I got 6 more hours. 6 more hours of staggering.
We'll make it yet.
Now, this is where we could lose time. But, on the other hand, bird in hand. It was a field, okay. King rail! King rail! No problem.
A visual.
Great. I think it was that mockingbird imitating a yellow-billed cuckoo.
Yeah, because you did a mockingbird right after.
Well, I thought I saw one here, and then I saw one over there.
I just saw the one. Well, I can tell you
one bird flying
away
from
I saw was a king rail.
Yeah,
right. Absolutely.
We got to get a couple of more. Never say die. The sun has got a half hour of life in it. We're going to get a couple more. Never fear. Let's go get a couple more. Yeah. Yes. 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 Yes.
I heard it.
Yes. Red-shouldered hawk.
Just flew out. Flew out. The other side.
We're going down to a vantage point where we can see the only nest of breeding bald eagles in New Jersey, and it's a protected species in a protected area, so we will say it's somewhere in southern New Jersey, and there will be no pictures of the place where we are observing from.
As the teams work their way south toward the finish line, the pressure builds. With only 4 hours to go, most of the birders are still hard at work. Meanwhile, back in Sandy Hook, the onlys haven't budged. They will call it a night around 10 p.m., and phone their totals into headquarters. The weary birders begin to straggle into the Cape May Observatory around 11 p.m.
How did it go? We had a lot of fun and we're totally beat.
How'd you do? You look tired. You look whipped.
How'd it go, Lori?
Whipped. You look sunburned.
Good.
When the results are in, the Green Mountain Mothers have not improved their standing from last year. They remain 16th. The tireless and competitive Swifts have placed 6th, a respectable showing. And what are the intrepid Onlys? To their dismay, they have missed their goal of coming in dead last, placing 20th in a field of 25. But the Swifts, the Mothers, the Onlys, and all the other birders can rest easy. There's always next year.
It's thrilling, though, and I couldn't stay home. I could not bird today.
Yeah, I think in many ways a big day is the exception that proves the rule. You know, that birding is contemplative, it's often private, it's aesthetic, it's laid back, and so forth. And once a year we do this craziness to return to our other mode the rest of the time. And to bed.
And what of the birds? After having been pursued all over the state for 24 hours, the birds are probably pretty tuckered out too. Will they be back next year for another round of craziness? Chances are they wouldn't miss it for the world.
Coming up on Explorer, the Matterhorn looms as a challenge to the best alpine mountaineers. Over the last 120 years, it's been the scene of intense competition and occasional tragedy. Next, we'll climb the Matterhorn. But first, this.
Now, brilliant nail colors for today's new fashions. Lead press-on nails in 18 deep, rich, dimensional colors. Cotton candy.
Sample.
Opal mist.
Mysterious.
Lead press-on nails. 18 great nail colors you just press on with undreamed-of ease. Desert mold.
Lovely.
Fiesta.
Lively.
Sugar plum.
Luscious.
40 Lee adhesive tabs and 20 Lee press-on nails for a perfect fit. Lee press-on nails. 18 sensational fashion colors. Press on.
This world takes a little growing into, and 10 million kids are growing up strong and feeling their best with Flintstones vitamins.
We are Flintstones kids, 10 million strong and growing. We are Flintstones kids, 10 million strong and growing. We are Flintstones kids, 10 million strong.
Flintstones, America's favorite.
And growing.
Ow! Ooh. Hold it. Using that hard, waxy lip balm is sort of like rubbing a candle across chapped lips.
Ow! You're right.
Now try creamy Blistic. Blistic goes on comfortably, glides over even the most severely chapped lips. There's nothing like Blistic. It's medicated. It helps heal dry, chapped lips fast.
Great. No hard, waxy feeling.
Creamy, comfortable to apply Blistic. Try it.
Who says a guy and his family have to drive a family car they don't like? Not Nissan Stanza. Like who says you can't have road sedan room and still afford braces? Happy, guys?
Happy.
There. Who says you can't have road sedan style and comfort and a great shape? Happy, honey?
Happy.
Who says you can't have all the luxuries, all the amenities, and still have enough for the finer things? Happy with your Stanza, Fred?
Happy. The quality and value of Stanza. The name is Nissan.
That'll do it. Who wants grapefruit juice?
I'll pass.
It's good for you. It's great for dieting.
I know, but...
Lots of vitamin C?
Yeah, but...
With the taste? Here, try this. Ocean Spray Pink Grapefruit Juice Cocktail. It's tangy, smoother, sweeter.
This is grapefruit juice?
Uh-huh.
It's not bitter.
It's Ocean Spray Pink Grapefruit Juice Cocktail. And it's not just good for you, it's good. Ocean Spray good.
Tuesday, Robert Taylor must prove he's worthy to be a member of an elite squadron.
Yeah, you've heard of the Hellcats, haven't you?
Flight Command, 11:20 Eastern on the Superstation, Tuesday. And now back to National Geographic Explorer and Tom Chapin.
More than a century ago, the race to the top of the Matterhorn ended in triumph and tragedy. Today, thousands reach the summit every year, but it's still treacherous. Still a climb where one misstep can tumble into disaster. Even so, this beautiful mountain's allure is irresistible. In the Alps, on the border between Switzerland and Italy, just outside the town of Zermatt, towers the famous Matterhorn.
Zermatt, Switzerland, host to a very special breed of tourist. Special because for many of them, the journey has just begun. Every year, more than 3,000 come to do what seemed impossible only 150 years ago, to face one of the greatest challenges of mountaineering. Peter Vogler is a trained mountain guide, a native of the Alps. Tomorrow, weather permitting, he will attempt to climb the Matterhorn with Fritz Braun. Their climb is a journey through history. Together, they will trace the route forged by the pioneers of the Alps. Their every step marks some milestone in a celebrated competition that took place in the 19th century. A race between two men to be the first to set foot on the Matterhorn's peak. It was a dramatic contest that ended in defeat for one and a bittersweet victory for the other. The middle of the 19th century ushered in the golden age of alpinism. Switzerland was flooded with climbers and adventurers, anxious to experience the thrill of the new sport. They were British mostly, and they relied on the local farmers and hunters to guide them. It was the age of progress, when man pitted his spirit against the vast challenges posed by nature. One by one, the peaks were conquered and claimed, until finally, only one mountain stood in grand defiance. The Matterhorn, a daunting and elusive goal, 14,690 feet high. Its sheer approaches, its immensity intimidated even the most experienced climbers. But not a simple goat herder named Jean-Antoine Carrel. Carrel had grown up in the mountain's shadow, drawn by it, even as a child tending the fields. His dream of scaling it grew to an obsession. He was poor, but determined to beat the British, to claim it for his native Italy. No stranger to the Matterhorn would take her from him. Carrel was convinced that the mountain's south ridge, on the Italian side, was the best approach. His nationalism blinded him to what is now common knowledge, that the north ridge, on the Swiss side, is, in fact, the better route. That's the approach that most climbers take nowadays, the so-called Hornli Ridge, to the north. Today, though, Fritz and Peter are attempting a far greater challenge. They will follow in Carrel's footsteps, tracking the South Passage through to the Col du Lion, or Neck of the Lion. Carrel made his first attempt here in 1859. His party came equipped only with some bread and brandy and an ice axe that a tourist had forgotten in their village. Now, though, Fritz and Peter use a thick hemp rope to negotiate the steep camine, or chimney. Carrel was forced to turn back here on that first ascent. It's easy to see how today's climbers have come to depend on their gear. Their ropes, their boots, enable them to negotiate passages that must have seemed impossible to their predecessors. At 13,000 feet, Fritz and Peter arrive at a shelter, the Rifugio Luigi Amadeo. They're greeted in a variety of languages, Italian, French, English. But the 12 men all share a common goal and a common concern, the weather. Cloudy, threatening. Their hopes, perhaps their lives, ride on a high-pressure zone to the north. Here, 1,700 feet from the top, talk of the weather is not just idle chit-chat. The hut marks the site where the mountain's next critical hurdle begins, a seemingly insurmountable overhanging bluff known as the Grosse Turm, or Great Tower. Here, a year after Carrel's attempt, a British party was next to fail. But a greater threat to Carrel's ambitions came in the summer of 1861 with a 20-year-old painter from London named Edward Whymper. Whymper had been commissioned to sketch the mountain for a publisher. He spent days considering its contours, its beauty, committing its every detail to memory. Like Carrel, Whymper was haunted by the Matterhorn and the prospect of claiming her. His first ascent brought him only to the Col du Lion. It was bitterly cold, he later wrote. Water froze hard in a bottle under my head. "6 a.m. Fritz and Peter have to get an early start to avoid rockfall caused by inexperienced climbers, the so-called Matterhorn stormers. Before them is the notorious Great Tower. At 13,500 feet, Fritz and Peter passed the highest point that Whymper was able to reach on his third attempt in 1862. He was alone, and while descending, he lost his footing. "I whirled downwards," he wrote, now over ice, now into rocks, striking my head 4 or 5 times, each time with increased force. He fell 200 feet in all, and only 10 feet beyond was a plunge of some 800 feet. He was lucky to survive. Today, a chain is fixed to the face of the Great Tower. Its very presence offers a grim reminder of history, a stark monument to the vulnerability of the climber. Every year, despite the modern safeguards, the Matterhorn is the setting for an average of 25 rescues and 12 deaths. For his 4th attempt, Whymper solicited Carrel's aid. By now, an odd rivalry had developed between the pair. Carrel depended on Whymper for funds to get him up the mountain, just as Whymper depended on him for his expertise. Still, Carrel resented Whymper's encroachment on his mountain. Together, they, at last, made it over the Great Tower. But their already tenuous partnership was further strained when weather forced them back. Carrel was so embittered with Whymper that, upon returning, he jilted him to join another expedition as a porter. After 2 days, the new party reached the mountain's last great shoulder at 13,900 feet, just 800 from the top. But the final cliff before them proved too difficult. The truth is that Carrel knew very well that the expedition's inexperienced guide was taking them on an ill-fated route. But, offended by his subordinate rank, he refused point blank to volunteer his advice. And so, the expedition failed. Carrel, Whymper recalled, was not an easy man to manage.
The conquest of the Matterhorn continues on Explorer in a moment.
Dry, skimpy diet breads, your history. Never again will I sacrifice this soft, fresh taste to save calories. And I will not sacrifice these full-size slices. I don't have to, because this is a light bread.
Introducing Wonder Light. So much soft, fresh taste. It's a wonder at just 40 calories a slice.
I never was the sacrificing type.
New Wonder Light, the wonder of light breads.
It's new Kool-Aid coolers with 20% juice. You can chill it, spill it, splash it cooler. Swing it, flip it, flash it cooler. Icy fruity, super juicy. Kool-Aid coolers make it cooler.
Wednesday, Indians, landslides, and greedy partners. It's a death match. Jimmy Stewart and Janet Leigh in Naked Spur. Then, the passion leaps off the screen like electricity. Magnetic, memorable, murderous.
Corey, did you do it?
A picture so hot, it set the censors ablaze. The original, The Postman Always Rings Twice, right after Naked Spur. It all begins at 8:05 Eastern on the Superstation Wednesday night.
You're watching National Geographic Explorer on Superstation WTBS.
When it comes to designing a luxury touring sedan, you continually stress precision. You overemphasize ergonomics and select only the finest leathers. The last thing you do is cut corners. You save that for the handling. The Acura Legend from a new division of American Honda, exclusively at Acura dealers.
Ow! Ooh. Hold it. Using that hard, waxy lip balm is sort of like rubbing a candle across chapped lips.
Ow! You're right.
Now try Creamy Blistick. Blistick goes on comfortably, glides over even the most severely chapped lips. There's nothing like Blistick. It's medicated. It helps heal dry, chapped lips fast.
Great. No hard, waxy feeling.
Creamy, comfortable to apply Blistick. Try it.
I'm a performer. My hair has to look great all the time, so I use White Rain shampoo and conditioner.
Louise Vandrell.
They leave my hair as clean and silky as the fancy brands, without the fancy price.
White Rain, beautiful hair at a beautiful price.
For your chance to join television's hottest live call-in show, turn to CNN's Larry King Live.
I love open phones.
Phone in your questions on CNN's Larry King Live.
Anything you want to talk about.
Weeknights at 9 Eastern.
And now back to National Geographic Explorer.
Now, the last great shoulder is all that remains for Fritz and Peter. Every year, more than 500 fall short of reaching the Matterhorn's peak. Some climbers are inexperienced or just unlucky. Others haven't given themselves enough time to adjust to the altitude. But for any climber, there's the weather. And that can change in a flash. 1863. A thunderstorm broke upon us with appalling fury. It was so close that we quailed at its darts. So ended Whymper's 7th expedition, in defeat. Now desperate, he approached Carrel about another joint expedition and a bold new plan. They would attempt the North Ridge on the Swiss side. Carrel agreed, but he had secretly made other plans. Thanks to a wealthy Italian benefactor, he would at last have the funding he needed to lead an expedition of his own. On July 11, 1865, Carrel started up the South Ridge with a well-equipped team of 6, leaving Whymper behind, empty-handed, outraged, but now more determined than ever. Whymper whipped a 7-man crew together and rallied for an expedition up the north face. He was 2 days behind Carrel, hastily equipped and hardly familiar with this new, untested route. But in his heart, Whymper was convinced that this would be his last chance. What Whymper lacked in preparation, he made up for in speed. Following the North Ridge, he found was far easier than the South. In fact, the first day's hike brought his party to a height of 11,000 feet, just 3,700 from the top. Today, the site is marked with a hut. Carrel, meanwhile, was in no hurry. The man who once came equipped only with bread and brandy now saddled his expedition with wood for fire and hay to sleep on. 800 feet from the peak, Whymper was forced to leave the ridge and venture over a sheer rock face to the north. His party was growing weak and the journey more perilous. His rival was now 4 days into the climb, and the thought of Carrel's imminent success nagged at Whymper, egging him on. He even thought he saw fleeting glimpses of the Italians on the peak. Still, he forged ahead. At 1:40 p.m. on July 14, 1865, the first man set foot on the summit of the Matterhorn, Edward Whymper. Jubilant, his party hoisted a makeshift flag made of a tent pole and a shirt. Carrel, the proud bearer of the Italian flag, was only a third of a mile from the top when he spied the victors above. Despondent, he turned back, his dream forever lost. Days later, he would return, and at last, make it all the way up. The South Ridge ascent, at least, would be his for posterity. But Whymper's victory was short-lived. Descending, delirious with exhaustion, a less experienced member of the party lost his footing at the brink of the North Wall. He plunged nearly 4,000 feet over the precipice, dragging 3 others with him to their deaths. Whymper would live with the tragedy for the rest of his life.
When we come back, meet a master of Japanese archery in Vermont. It's coming up right after this.
The following geographic moment is brought to you by Color Watch. Look for the Color Watch system where you get your film developed for bright, vivid color prints time after time.
Your mission, Paul, is to get these pictures developed, but you must remember to ask for Color Watch.
Color watch, 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 color
For
watch.
great film developing, make sure your dealer uses only Kodak products. But to get that assurance, remember to ask for Color Watch. The Kodak Color Watch system helps make great developing possible.
In over 20 years, in all kinds of racing, this may be the best result we've ever had. The Acura Integra, from a new division of American Honda, exclusively at Acura dealers.
Now, brilliant nail colors for today's new fashions. Lead press-on nails in 18 deep, rich, dimensional colors. Cotton candy.
Sample.
Opal mist.
Mysterious.
Lead press-on nails. 18 great nail colors you just press on with undreamed-of ease. Desert mold.
Lovely.
Fiesta.
Lively.
Sugar plum.
Luscious.
40 Lee adhesive tabs and 20 Lee press-on nails for a perfect fit. Lee press-on nails. 18 sensational fashion colors. Press on.
Turn on the juice, let it flow. Turn on the juice, let it go. shoes for your body. Turn it on to keep fit. Turn it on all you want. It's got a juice that won't quit. Turn it on. Turn on the juice. Turn on the juice.
America's turning on to 100% pure orange juice, which carries Florida's seal of approval. That means juice packed to standards even higher than the federal government.
Turn it on. Turn on the juice. Look for the seal.
Silver Eagle Records presents
I found my thrill.
the legendary Fats Domino.
I got a whole lot of loving for you as I'm walking to New Orleans.
His records have sold over 100 million copies.
Hey, Lord, Josephine, how dare you
Fats Domino, his greatest hits on 2 LPs, long play cassette or compact disc. Concert highlights also available on stereo, VHS, or beta.
Cause I'm ready, I'm willing, and I'm able to rock and roll tonight. I wanna walk you little money, let it go and blow.
Fats Domino, his greatest hits on 2 LPs or long play cassette, just $12.95. Compact disc or concert highlights on stereo, VHS, or beta, only $16.95.
And now back to National Geographic Explorer and Tom Chapin.
Kung Fu, karate, taekwondo, all the Oriental martial arts develop keenness of the mind and spirit, as well as physical strength and skill. The same goes for Kyudo, Zen archery. In, of all places, New England, the Japanese master Kanjuro Shibata uses lessons in archery to teach his students lessons in life.
This is Karmacholing, a center of Buddhist learning in rural Vermont. People come here from all over the country and from all walks of life to practice a variety of ancient meditative techniques. These men and women have come to learn Kyudo, the way of the bow.
Hi, Yumi, left, stand up.
Kanjuro Shibata is a master or sensei of Kyudo.
Push 6%.
He came to the United States from Japan in 1985, hoping that the Eastern discipline, which is sometimes called Zen archery, would find a receptive audience in the West. On the surface, Kyudo seems to resemble the Western sport of archery, where points are scored each time the arrow hits the target. But for sensei, the bullseye is unimportant. The target is one's mind.
In Kyudo, the archer confronts his inner self because the bow is so difficult to master. He learns, above all, to be patient. They say that Zen monks had to sit on a stone for 10 years before they could even start to understand anything. In Kyudo, it takes 10 years to learn how to grip the bow properly.
As early as the 8th century, the Japanese nobility recognized archery as a way to develop self-discipline. Later, when Japan was convulsed by a series of civil wars, an emerging warrior class known as samurai regarded the bow as a superior fighting tool. Using it correctly became an art. After the teachings of Zen Buddhism reached Japan, the martial arts gradually took on a new emphasis. The Zen warrior's primary goal was to purify heart and mind, and thus become fearless in battle. Sensei is 20th generation samurai. For the past century, his family has held the title of official bowmaker and archer for the Emperor of Japan. In his Kyoto workshop, Sensei forms the bows, or yumis, from a series of bamboo and hardwood laminates, sometimes using wood cut by his great-great-grandfather. The bows are between 6 and 7 feet long and can take up to 10 years to make. According to samurai tradition, bows crafted by masters like Sensei contain the spirit and consciousness, the essence of their creator.
The yumi is not only something used to throw an arrow. It is a tool to cleanse one's mind. The yumi itself is the teacher.
According to an ancient Zen saying, a man discovers his true character at the moment of the arrow's release. Every movement in Kyudo is a meditation. He who masters the bow masters himself.
In China, in the old days, the emperor tested people by having them shoot the bow. It was a way of measuring a man's personality, his state of mind. If he used the bow properly, if the arrow was released with dignity, he could be trusted.
The essence of Kyudo is balance, inner and outer. Balance is achieved by mastering the 7 coordinations of Kyudo, from the initial stance to the final pause after the arrow is released. These are beginners, using the bow for the first time.
Push, pull, push, pull. Kai. Oh my. Why?
For Sensei, there are no mistakes. At this stage, reflection on technique is the most important thing.
This, no. Body, shoulder, cross. Yumi, yeah, cross.
The legs are planted firmly, like a tree rooted solidly in the earth.
Grip, ne? Slowly, slowly, slowly.
The upper torso feels uplifted, as if attached to a string in the sky.
Tie, ne? Hai. Twist, little bit, twist. Hai. Fast, push. Good. Big arch. Big arch, big arch. Kai. Stop. Heaven glass. Okay, 100.
When the arrow is finally released, it is not the result of a conscious decision, but when the moment is right, like a piece of fruit falling naturally to the ground. One of Kyudo's most difficult concepts for Westerners is the relative unimportance of the target. Sensei's students start by shooting at a bale of hay a single bow length away. Then, usually within 3 months, they take aim at more distant targets, following instructions similar to those transmitted to samurai warriors centuries ago.
For me, I think the mind that Kyudo develops is one of awareness and present moment. You can be in a very confusing situation and not be carried away by all that and able to see what's going on and be appropriate in the situation.
I'm a ball.
My mind is always working. It's always thinking. It's always thinking about things that happened before and hoping they'll happen again, or worrying about things that are going to happen in the future. And that's very confusing. We try to be, I try to be on the spot. When you're doing Kyudo, you've got this enormously impossible form. Your hands, every particular movement that you do with your hands, your body, your eyes, are prescribed. And yet there are things that are going on in your mind. I'm balancing my checkbook, you know. I'm standing up there and reliving an argument I just had. I'm furiously angry. I'm worried about money. It's difficult to let go of those. And all of a sudden you get up there and you're at balance and you're thinking and you're thinking and you're still thinking, and then you let go. So that release is so powerful, it's so strong, it's so physical with your yell that it just snaps you back to, I'm here. And all that stuff is meaningless.
Finish after sit down.
The spirit of Kyudo is to treat oneself with discipline and others with kindness. It comes from inside, after long practice with the bow. Kyudo starts with spirit and ends with spirit. A master does not try to hit the target. He does not even hope to do that. But if he has a good heart, if his spirit is correct, he will hit the target even if he is blind.
National Geographic Explorer will return after this.
When I was a little girl, I loved two things: dessert and Tommy, what's his name? I got over Tommy. I still love dessert. Well, I have it every chance I get, as long as it's sugar-free Jell-O gelatin. It's all NutraSweet, with only 8 wonderful little calories.
Sugar-free Jell-O gelatin, the dessert you don't have to dessert.
Eat your heart out, Tommy.
I think there are 3 nevers to being a winning coach. Never let the press pick your starting quarterback. Never take a last-place team lightly. And really, no matter what the score, never let them see you sweat.
That's what Dry Idea aerosol is all about, maximum control.
Everyone feels pressure. Winners don't let it show.
Dry Idea. Never let them see you sweat.
Look for me, Kathy Smith, and stretch your dollars with savings on these fine Gillette products.
I'm a honeymoony. Every night I see him on TV. I'm having a honeymoon-y. I know every line when it's honeymoon time.
I never knew Davy Crockett was so fat.
The Honeymooners, a regular weeknight riot. 7:35 Eastern on the Superstation weeknights.
Next Monday on Explorer, it was a race against nature and impossible odds. For 8 daring explorers, it was a modern-day journey to the top of the world without the help of modern technology. Go north to the pole on National Geographic Explorer. Next Monday night at 12:05 Eastern, 9:05 Pacific on the Superstation.
Following National Geographic Explorer, Humphrey Bogart is accused of murder, and Gloria Graham is his only alibi. In a lonely place, coming up next on the Superstation.
You're watching National Geographic Explorer on Superstation WTBS.
Now, brilliant nail colors for today's new fashions. Lead press-on nails in 18 deep, rich, dimensional colors. Cotton candy.
Sample.
Opal mist.
Mysterious.
Lead press-on nails. 18 great nail colors you just press on with undreamed-of ease. Desert mold.
Lovely.
Fiesta.
Lively.
Sugar plum.
Luscious.
40 Lee adhesive tabs and 20 Lee press-on nails for a perfect fit. Lee press-on nails. 18 sensational fashion colors. Press on.
Want cash free here in any specially marked box of Almond Delight brand cereal, because every box has free cash, U.S. or foreign, up to $500.
$500 in Almond Delight?
If a food gave your baby extra nutrition, wouldn't you buy it for him? What if this were your baby? Give him the extra nutrition of Puppy Chow brand puppy food from Purina. Don't treat your puppy like a dog. Feed him Puppy Chow.
Welcome to the auto show.
We need an inexpensive...
Dependable.
First car. See the Yugo.
I need a tough little car.
See the Yugo. We need a safe...
Economical
second car. Oh, see the Yugo.
For most of the reasons you need a car, the Yugo is all the car you need.
Wow! $39.90.
That's right. The 87 Yugo GV is still only $39.90. Everybody needs a Yugo sometime. Yugo, $39.90.
This edition of Explorer has come to an end. But as ever, next week, there will be more stories of courage and discovery. Here's a look. Join the Steger expedition to the North Pole. 7 men, 1 woman, and 49 dogs in an historic trek over the Arctic ice. Find out how high-tech model planes let their pilots soar through the sky while keeping both feet on the ground. And discover the cradle of mankind, East Africa's great Rift Valley. I'm Tom Chapin. See you next time, right here on Explorer.
Remember, you can see the world's greatest adventures on National Geographic Explorer every Sunday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, Mondays at midnight Eastern, 9 Pacific, and Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. Eastern. National Geographic Explorer has been brought to you by CNN, the world's most important network.
When it comes to designing a luxury touring sedan, you continually stress precision. You overemphasize ergonomics and select only the finest leathers. The last thing you do is cut corners. You save that for the handling. The Acura Legend from a new division of American Honda, exclusively at Acura dealers.
Young-looking lips,
The young-looking lips on the left do not use daily conditioning treatment.
I use daily conditioning treatment for lips every day. Under lipstick and at bedtime. It's the only product with vitamins, collagen protein, and sunscreen. It helps keep lips healthy, soft, young-looking, no matter what they're exposed to. It may help prevent premature aging.
I don't use it yet, but I will.
Young-looking lips at your fingertips with daily conditioning treatment.
Every day.
Next Monday on Explorer, it was a race against nature and impossible odds. For 8 daring explorers, it was a modern-day journey to the top of the world without the help of modern technology. Go north to the pole on National Geographic Explorer. Next Monday night at 12:05 Eastern, 9:05 Pacific on the Superstation.
It's the policy of Turner Broadcasting System to provide equal employment opportunities to qualified applicants without regard to race, color, religion, sex, age, or national origin. This is the Superstation, WTBS, Atlanta.